Then when I start getting calls from Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lionsgate, and they wanted me to come work for free.
So does this mean that Oprah is a slave trader?
But to believe that you can take them as property and sexually assault them and sell them, and it's something from the dark ages.
2 children are missing.
I was just there.
I mean, by all definitions, she's meeting the mark.
See, what happens is you get caught up in her money and her status. So, Monique, how could you say that? Because it's true. Because no one is saying to that black woman, how could you throw that sister under the bus?
Let's talk about it. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Trauma Pond HQ. My name's Olivia and this is where we sit by the pond and we have a little chat. Now at the time of this recording, the Epstein list has been released like a couple of days ago. And there's one person that's missing off that list, but we're going to talk about Oprah Winfrey anyway. So, well, some people were able to buy their way off that list.
How are you?
I am here.
I actually think that Oprah is worse than Ellen DeGeneres. I never bought anything that Ellen was putting down, and I never ever bought into this whole Oprah phenomenon. But it's good to know that so much stuff is coming out about it now. I have no idea why in the age of cancellation, we are seeing so many people being cancelled left, right, and center for so many different things. Yet Oprah seems to be the only one with so much controversy, and she is still able to keep continuing. Because whatever is coming out about her, the elites are definitely needing her to stick around. Which is why I'm not actually surprised that she's not on a particular list.
Interesting.
There's an awful lot of talk at the moment between Oprah and one of her leading cast members for The Colour Purple, Taraji. And it is not looking well for Oprah. But to say that I would be surprised that she would give Taraji the cold shoulder after she broke down emotionally about her pay, of course Oprah was going to give her the cold shoulder.
How could she do this to me?
But I thought we would look at some of the interaction between Oprah and Taraji as they were at the top of the Empire State Building. Now, I am going to be referencing some things that Spidey had actually said in his episode in regarding to this particular topic. Spidey is very good at breaking down people's body language, but when it comes to behaviour and how people act if they have got certain agendas or personality styles, this is where I feel like his objectiveness kind of falls down. Good guys can look like bad guys too.
Did you think you could escape? No.
Okay, awesome.
Go.
I can't see a thing. Can anybody see anything? There we go.
Where are we looking?
Right here. Oh, wait, we're starting right down here.
Okay.
Everybody right down here, and then we're going to go all the way around.
Step
around the ring.
Come on, Fantasia. I want to
Be a part of it.
You guys together, just a little shot there, a little shot.
So Spidey does mention the fact that Oprah comes in very wincy, she's playing it up. And he does say that she's being very playful with everybody else around her and then her demeanour changes. Coming from a scapegoat point of view and seeing a narcissist play out, as Oprah is walking up to Taraji, she's pandering up to the audience, she's playing about with it. Oprah has been in the game a very long time. She knows how to play to her audience. This is something that is a skill that she has developed over however many years that she's been in the industry. Narcissistic people know how to throw a shiny object to take away from the fact that something else is going on. Narcissistic people have a very good way of making out that nothing is interfering with their life. But if the scapegoat is there and their body language is off, it kind of throws everything else off the entire situation. So when Oprah is coming up to her and starts going cold, it looks as though Oprah is giving her the silent treatment. And everybody who has ever experienced silent treatment knows it is one of the most painful experiences that you will ever interact with an abuser. Silent treatment is usually given after gaslighting. Something has really taken off with Taraji that she knows that she cannot be around Oprah. She doesn't feel safe in Oprah's presence. And that's why she is looking so unbelievably uncomfortable. Now, everyone will say, well, Oprah's looking a little bit more uncomfortable. Yeah, but she's uncomfortable because she knows that she's under the microscope. The amazing thing is that an awful lot of people who have had their careers completely demolished by Oprah, they're all African-American women. You would think for someone who likes to spread all of this, be happy, be aware of, learn stories, all of these things, you would think that this person who claims to be empathetic is actually just in turn using and abusing all of the people that they meet. It's almost as though Oprah wants to make sure that she is the most successful African-American woman in history, and no one is allowed to surpass her. So anyone who comes close to her, she will tear down as best she possibly can. So in that first instant, you've got Oprah pandering to the audience the way that she knows how to, and then you have Taraji that's clearly in an emotional state. Now, everyone will say, oh, you're just reading too much into this. Well, here's the thing as well. If Taraji's in an emotional state and Oprah, who claims to be a very empathetic person, is going up to a person who is clearly in pain, an empathetic person will go up to someone and ask if they're okay. She would have gone, you okay? You're all good? You know, maybe not be fully heavily invested, but at the very least, if someone is feeling a certain way and you are an empathetic person, you want to comfort them. You don't want them to feel the way that they're feeling. Regardless as to whether or not they like them or dislike them, they are going to put in an awful lot of effort to make sure that people are comfortable. That's what empathetic people do. So Oprah didn't go up, she didn't touch her, she didn't look at her, she didn't do anything with her. And if she was a good person, she would have. One of the other things that's in that video is that they have the picture together, and then once it's taken, other people are coming in, the other actors from the movie, and Oprah then goes to the very side. Now, of course, she is not in the movie, she is a producer of the movie, so she probably wants all of the actors together, that's absolutely fine. But it's the interactions. We can read in between the lines. I always say whenever it comes to body language, there are some people that can read it like a book, and other people are completely dyslexic.
Hey, why ain't you running?
Well, I can't read.
Get out of here.
I am very heavily dyslexic, so body language is easy as anything for me. How Oprah moves towards the very end is kind of like, okay, get me out of here. Now, when Spidey is talking about this particular incident, he is saying that Oprah is one way with Taraji, but another with everybody else. But Taraji does not actually change her approach with anyone else that's there. She's pretty consistent with everyone. This could be the fact that she is having one of those emotionally draining days, which if you're the scapegoat, emotional exhaustion is something that just takes over your entire life. Let me explain to you something about emotional exhaustion. It's the equivalent of running a marathon. When you are going through a very difficult period of your life, whether that be the fact that you're majorly stressed at work, whether it be that you're being abused by a partner, whether it be the fact that you have lost someone in your life, you will go through an emotional roller coaster, and that in its turn takes an absolute toll on your body and how you're able to interact with other people. The inconsistency of emotions will have a never-ending effect that makes you spiral. So we know that the interview that she gave talking about how she wanted to leave the industry because the fact that she worked so hard and isn't getting paid for it, which is something that Monique had talked about when Oprah had taken over a contract for a movie that she was in. Monet was being told to work for free.
Now, when I make this statement, this is what happens when you don't go to the room. What Tyler Perry showed me, Lee Daniels, Oprah Winfrey, and Lionsgate. When you don't do what we ask you to do, we'll take your livelihood. So for 8 years, my family has suffered and my career has suffered because what I would not allow those entities to do was bully me. And because I didn't allow the bullying to happen, this is now what I sit in.
Okay. Which is why Oprah seems like a slave trader, don't you think? So it seems as though Taraji has actually been going through an awful lot of pent-up emotion and anger towards what has been going on behind the scenes of making Purple. She even said that when she was in the negotiation stage before making the movie, she almost pulled out because of things that were being done behind closed doors. And who is leading that charge is Oprah.
And almost had to walk away from Color Purple. Yes, ma'am. Who said what? Yes, ma'am.
So these pent-up emotions have been going on since before production. And now they've finished production, they have to come together again now that the movie is ready for release and do all of the promotional work which most likely is minimal pay. It would be very interesting to see the massive cast list of people that were put onto the production of this particular movie and see how much each individual person was paid and how many were forced to work for free because it's known as exposure into the industry. Because I have spoken about this before, I've worked in the industry before myself. The amount of times that they will find a way to make sure that you don't get paid or get any credit is absolutely disgusting. But exposure pays the bills, don't you know? So if Taraji is the one that is speaking out about the treatment and the pay, and all the other cast members are keeping their mouths shut because they know exactly what she is going through, they're not going to say anything about what's going on. Spidey does actually mention that in the interview, the others are actually surprised at this information. I don't believe it's surprised at the information. I think it's surprised that someone has the balls to actually talk about it. So the reason why Taraji's interaction with other people is because she's completely emotionally drained, and I can see that, I can feel it through the screen. Now, there was one other thing that Spidey decides to talk about in that particular video. So Taraji had sent out a tweet, an X, with a picture of her and Oprah addressing these controversial issues that were between the two of them and saying that there was a little bit of tension between the two. He does go on to say that he doesn't buy that this was a genuine post and that it was more of a PR post. The interactions between Oprah and Taraji from that point, with all of the photographs being done and this tweet going out, I wouldn't be surprised if Taraji has actually experienced some level of scapegoat targeting. If Oprah has then turned all the other cast members into flying monkeys, potentially making Taraji feel even worse than what she already has felt. So let's read this tweet. It is so important for Black women and all women of colour to support each other. It is also imperative to have women of colour in decision-making positions across all industries. Thank you for responding to my message with compassion, understanding and support that I've received. With that being said, Miss Oprah has been nothing less than a steady and solid beacon of light to all of the cast of The Colour Purple. She has provided encouragement, guidance and unwavering support to all of us. Why did those have to be in such loud letters? She told me personally to reach out to her for anything I needed, and I did. It took one call, one conversation, and one decision-making Black woman to make me feel heard. Thank you, Miss Oprah, for all that you do. The funny thing is, I don't even see that as being a good PR message because, like Spidey said in his, it doesn't actually address the rumors that there is tension between her and Oprah. But what I see is nobody wanting to pander to the very idea that Oprah is controlling, is narcissistic, is backstabbing. There have been plenty of people who have lost their careers by sticking up for themselves and trying to defend themselves about what Oprah was trying to do to them.
She's so freaking mean to me. I was in shock. Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now? 100%. 100%. 100%.
In this case, I would actually believe that Taraji did write that with a very strategic thing in mind, which was to try and appease the narcissistic personality of Oprah so that she could get back in the good graces. Because when it comes to scapegoats, there is one sure damn thing that they will do. To get out of the doghouse, they will do whatever it takes by defending that person to the bitter end.
People are saying that I was not supporting Taraji. Taraji will tell you herself that I've been the greatest champion of this film, championing not only the behind-the-scenes production, but also everything that everybody needed.
All I'm saying that from the interviews that Taraji has given about this entire experience and then seeing the two of them together, yeah, all I can see is a woman who has been very severely abused mentally and emotionally. And you can see that Oprah was the one that did it to her. So, at the risk of disappearing, I'm just going to cut it there. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, guys. If you have enjoyed this episode of Trauma Pond HQ, please do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, say whatever you want. It's not going to affect me. I'm already traumatized. All right, guys, have a good week, and I will see you next time for another episode of Trauma Pond HQ. Mwah.